Hi there, and welcome to the first episode of the bluebox Entrepreneur Vlog. My name is Richard Namoa, and today I'll be speaking with Timothy Almu, the co-founder of Fanbytes. Tim, thanks for joining us today. For those who haven't heard of Fanbytes before, can you please give them a brief insight to what Fanbytes actually is?
Sure. So Fanbytes is an online marketplace which connects brands to YouTube and Instagram influencers to create branded content. We realized that a lot of millennial audiences were moving away from the old conventional forms of advertising, TV, print, and they're actually moving on to more of like the social web, so things like online video and Instagram, so YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, those sort of things. We realized that with the shift there from millennials going from these old ways to these new ways, brands needed ways to engage with them, and we realized that the best way in order to do that was through these sort of passionate, authentic YouTube and Instagram influencers. So we sort of created a way then for brands to be able to achieve their goals of engaging with millennials in a quick, secure and easy way.
Brilliant. But how did Fanbytes get started to begin with?
To begin with, it was just a case of us being actually part of the audience that we're targeting, right? And we started to realize that these guys have like enormous amount of influence, and it's an authentic influence as well. It's not like manufactured or like a TV ad spot or something like that. We realized there's a lot of value in there. Another thing that we also realized was that these guys were not making a lot of money, right? These guys were living off like YouTube ad revenue, which is shockingly low. And so we said, how about we help you guys by helping you monetize your audience by bringing in brands, branded collaborations, and brands also want to engage with these millennials. So let's sort of bring you two together under one secure marketplace.
Fantastic. Now, I understand it can be quite hard for relatively new companies such as your own to raise traditional forms of funding through banks, etc. Fanbytes raised its first round of angel funding within a month of conception. How did that come about, and how did it come about so quickly?
How it came about was a convergence of two main things. The first one was that the market is rapidly growing, but when we even raised funding, the market was very much in its nascent stages, right? And it was a case of like, whoever can sort of understand that market the best, whoever can ride that wave the best, is the person who's eventually going to succeed in that market. And so it was a case of investors saw that this was something that was becoming quite a thing amongst brands, so social media influencers, and so they were quite interested in that space. And also the second thing was the team, right? So I've had some level of success in startups before, and my co-founder Ambrose is an incredibly bright guy, and I think sort of they've realized that sort of the convergence of both the team and also the market potential and how well positioned we were in. We were taking something which a lot of people did not particularly understand, and we're using technology to essentially like simplify for them. I think when investors understood that, it was fairly easy to raise money.
Okay. Now, as you said, Fanbytes isn't your first business. You set up two, one being a tutoring company and the other Entrepreneur Express, a media company, which you then sold at the grand old age of 17.
Yeah.
How did you go about selling your first company, age 17?
So how you go about selling your company is to create a company that can be bought, right? It seems so obvious, but so Entrepreneur Express, just for the viewers, there was a business publication, right? And it spoke about all aspects of business, but the real value came that we developed a technology which was sort of like this real-time advertising technology, so you could like read a specific article and like you'd see an ad like relevant to that particular thing that you read. So you read maybe about like a car entrepreneur or like something to do with that, it will serve you an ad there. And that was incredibly valuable to the eventual acquirer because of firstly the technology, right? We were actually doing it in a different pricing model. We're doing it in this sort of completely different way, which the acquirer wanted to get their hands on, and also we had a lot of traffic going on there. So I think it was sort of like those two things: the fact that we had built this technology which was really helping advertisers, and also were able to drive a healthy amount of traffic.
Fantastic. Now in the UK, almost 80% of businesses that are put up to sell don't actually sell. So what kind of challenges did you come across when you were trying to sell your first company, Entrepreneur Express?
I think it was like figuring out the price, right? Like so just to sort of go back, we sold a company within about 9 or 10 months of it actually starting.
Wow.
We had no idea we were going to sell a company within 9 or 10 months of it starting. So we hadn't even thought about, okay, what is the value of this company? Now we hadn't even had that in the back of our mind. So the main thing was sort of, how much do you sell it for, right? And I think that was the main thing there, because, and that's one thing that we're actually taking with Fanbytes now. We're really trying to understand sort of how much value everything that we do actually bring to a company. So every brand that we bring on, how much, like, what is their lifetime value? All the YouTubers that we bring on in terms of like their subscribers and all that, like what is the actual value of all these people? And we're using that to essentially, in the event of a potential acquisition, to really understand that, okay, this is the value of our business, this is the cost that we will sell it for.
Great. Now, moving on to our last question. Many entrepreneurs may come to their conclusion, like yourself, to sell their company. Given your experience, what are the 3 best tips you'd give to someone who really wanted to maximize the outcome of their sale process?
Sure. I mean, just as a note here, I sold my company, but compared to some of the other companies that I'm sure bluebox have been involved with, it's meager sum. But of what I know that companies buy other companies for like 3 main reasons. The first one is that the acquiring company wants to gain a specific edge. So what I then say, for example, is that when you start your company, in the event of it being sold, you have to like really sort of emphasize the thing that gives you that competitive edge, right? Like, I know it seems trite and it seems sort of like, well, that's quite obvious, but like you really have to accentuate that. So with Fanbyte, for example, one thing that we're doing is this, like, our platform is the only platform sort of in the UK that actually helps you sort of automate the whole process of engaging with YouTube and Instagram stars. Whereas previously it was like brands would go to agencies would then pick someone, then they'll go back to the brand. We're literally saying, get the middleman out, and like that's essentially what we're banging on about. The second thing is the team. Like, it's so important to build sort of a world-class team. I know, again, that sounds like incredibly trite, but it's like completely true. Like companies in there are people, and people want to work with like also capable people. So it's so important to like really get a good team in place. The third thing I'd say is just this idea of like, you have to think like, what is the real value that you actually provide to the acquiring company? And that's slightly different from the competitive edge thing. For example, it's important when you start your company to think about who would be the person who would most likely buy our company. And actually, like, during that whole process of you growing your company, starting a company, like really try and sort of form these synergies, for example, with acquiring companies. So for us, for Fanbytes, for example, we've done a lot of stuff with like agencies, so like big agencies, social agencies, digital marketing agencies, because we realized that if we were to be acquired, it'd be somewhere like in that space. So we've sort of like from even the beginning started to form these relationships with them, so that when it eventually comes to an acquisition, they've known us, they've worked with us for months. So I think those 3 things is so the first one is really emphasize your competitive edge. The second one is like the team, really bang on about building like a world-class team. And the third one is sort of try and form these sort of synergies as you grow with the type of acquirer that you like.
Brilliant. Tim, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
today. We here at Bluebox wish you all the best with Fan Bites.
Cheers. Thank you.